I get asked quite a lot about the difference and the definitions of spirit and soul. And so I want to come and talk to you about that today. And it's a very complex one that is often bound, and the understanding and belief is often tied up with various religions as to what it all means. But I can give you my perspective, and I've mused over it for a very long time, and I've listened to friends and colleagues, and I've read so many books on this subject that I'm going to give you my perspective. And my perspective on the spirit and the soul is the spirit is the part of us that is eternal. Now, I didn't used to think that. I used to think it was the other way around. The soul was the eternal part. But the spirit is part of everything. So whether you believe in a God, or whether you call it the Great Spirit, whether you call it life force, energy, whatever you want to call it, universe, it doesn't really matter what the name is, but the spirit is a particle of the greater spirit, if you like. And that is the eternal part of us, and that's the part that can't be destroyed. And that's the part of consciousness that continues forever. The soul is an aspect of the spirit that has incarnated. I'm not 100% sure where I am with reincarnation in the religious sense, but I know from what I understand and makes sense to me through knowledge and experience, is that the soul is the aspect of the spirit that needs to grow, if you like, to make the spirit more complete. And in a Buddhist sense, they're working constantly, and the belief is there in reincarnation to reach that wonderful state of being completely at one with the Great Spirit. I'm not sure I have the same belief system, but I believe that the soul is an aspect of the spirit, and it has, if you like, chosen to incarnate into this world to experience and learn what it needs to feed the spirit, to enrich the spirit. And that's my understanding, is the spirit is the part of us, the part, it's invisible and it is eternal, and that's where we go back to. The soul is an aspect of that, an expression of the spirit that needs to feed the spirit through its experiences, through its wisdom, through its acquired knowledge and experience and wisdom. And that is my understanding of it. Now, something that was interesting that happened to me quite a few years ago was I was working with spiritualism, within spiritualism, very intensely at the time. I was living in West London, and there was advertised a free meditation course by the Brahma Kumari in a little centre that they had in Slough. It was actually a little terraced house. And I've been teaching transcendental meditation for a long time. I was also teaching mindfulness, and I would meditate myself. So I thought it would be really interesting to go along. Could I learn something? Could it benefit me? Could it benefit the students that I was teaching? And when I went, there was a lovely little lady, an Indian lady, who opened the door, and she just put her arms around everyone, and you felt very special. And I went, and we sat and we meditated, and it was more or less like a mindfulness meditation. So you were observing your own thoughts as they arose and acknowledging them and letting them go and focusing on the breath and a lot of the usual types of things. So this free course lasted for 4 weeks, and on the 4th week we were chatting after the final session. There were about 3 or 4 of us who went. It was a very small group, and I said, I need to ask you a question, because you see, I've been working within spiritualism where, we believe that we can still communicate with the consciousness of our loved ones as they've passed over. And you have been talking, she had been talking about reincarnation, and that when we pass, we will reincarnate. And It seemed to be pretty immediate from what she was saying. So I said to her, what I said, and I've been working within spiritualism, and I said, who the hell am I talking to and communicating with if when we pass, when we die, we reincarnate virtually immediately? And she said, you're talking to the spirit. And it confused me a little bit more because I had everything the other way around, that the soul was the eternal part and the spirit, if you like, was the essence, an expression of the soul. And she said, no, it's the spirit that is eternal. The soul is the expression of the spirit. And so it led me to think of it in those terms, and I've meditated with it, read about it. Of course, everything that we do, your experience is your experience, and I will never say you're wrong. I may not agree that it's right for me, but that worked for me. So basically, the spirit for me is the eternal part that, cannot be destroyed. It's energy that cannot be destroyed. Energy can't be destroyed anyway. It can only change form. It is the eternal part, the consciousness, the intelligence that is always present. And the soul is the aspect, a little aspect, expression of the spirit that, if you like, has broken away to come and have this experience within the physical world. And that's where I am with it. Of course, it's a very complex area. I could talk with you for a very long time about it. And we could muse on all sorts of possibilities and theories. But that's where I am with it. And that's my little story behind it.